Tonight at 6, it is International Women's Day, and students took the opportunity to advocate more on the events ahead.
New safety programs are being introduced for Ohio first responders. What prompted this and what the training entails?
Yosemite National Park is bracing for another storm right after getting hit by heavy snow. How they are preparing ahead.
And Avatar: The Way of Water is going to...
Avatar fans can soon visit Pandora.
TV2 News starts right now.
This is TV2 News.
Good Wednesday evening, Portage County. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Chris Abreu.
And I'm Kelsey Drennen.
We start off our show today with some of the Kent State's events related to International Women's Day, which just so happens to be today. Happy International Women's Day, Kelsey.
Thanks so much, Chris.
Of course.
Our reporter Noah Rowe was there at the Q and can tell us more. Hi, Noah.
Hi guys, that's right. The Women's Center, in collaboration with the Community Engaged Learning, had an event in honor of International Women's Day today. The event, named Gender Equity Across the Globe, focused on women around the world with different activities during the event. Today is International Women's Day, and multiple on-campus organizations raised awareness of women's issues in various ways. The Kent State University Women's Center hosted an event in the Q that shared women's stories from across the globe.
Three things going on today. So we start off with a gallery. We asked our students, faculty, staff, anyone who was interested basically, to create a trifold that they shared information about different countries and gender equity in that country. We want to learn about some of the challenges that the country is facing, but also some of the good things that that country is doing. For
Women's History Month, a national theme is chosen every year, and the Women's Center made sure to highlight it during this event.
The theme for this year is Embrace Equity. So I think it's challenging us to embrace equity in whatever ways, whatever positions, like if you're a hiring manager, are you making sure that you're paying people equally regardless of, the identity, regardless of their race.
The event also included a panel of international women who shared their experience with the crowd.
So when I first came to the United States and when I came to Kent State to see how people celebrate women, so I think that's what today reminds me about. It's a day where we can celebrate women across the world.
And the event concluded with the Go With The Flow event to help schools around the area.
Go With The Flow is something new that we're doing. It's stuffing these kits or these bags with menstruation products, and we also have this little cardboard that we're putting in there that can track periods and stuff like that, which is really cool, and I think it needs to be put in a lot of schools.
The event also encouraged students to learn more about women's issues, not just during Women's Month, but year-round.
I think the internet is a good place if you're finding the right sources. I would say try to stick to sources maybe that are government official or stuff like that, and then kind of expand from there. There's always a fight to be had, especially with women's rights and stuff like that. I think it's just talking about it and getting the conversation out there, even if it's just posting something to your story, even following the Women's Center's Instagram. We post a lot of things where you can expand on knowledge and stuff, and I think it's just talking about it and getting the word out there.
And throughout the day, the Kent campus was full of activities to recognize women in our community and around the world. Reporting for TV2 News, I'm Noah Rowe.
Thanks, Noah. And the Center of Undergraduate Excellence wasn't the only one. Other events around campus have happened, including different protests and events.
TV2's Jacob Brooks has a roundup of what's going on. Hi, Jacob.
Chris and Kelsey, so International Women's Day has been celebrated in some form since the 1900s, and today on campus, the celebration took the form of protests and rallies. So let's start with the rally that SDS had today. Kent State Students for a Democratic Society held a rally at the K in Risman Plaza early this afternoon. They spoke out against the overturning of Roe v. Wade and the importance of reproductive rights. They also called on Kent State to provide free Plan B and more types of contraception methods to students. Then they marched through campus to the Rock along Main Street. And SDS wasn't the only on-campus organization who protested for women's rights. There was also a rally held in solidarity with the women of Iran who are fighting for their freedom. It started at 1 in Risman Plaza. Demonstrators held signs like Women for Freedom and Free Iran. There were similar rallies like these held at schools across the country today. And in about 25 minutes, the School of Peace and Conflict Studies will be celebrating International Women's Day themselves. Amanda Donahoe, who is a professor at a school in Louisiana and an author, will be talking about reproductive rights in a post-Brexit, post-conflict Northern Ireland. This event will be held from 6:30 to 8 p.m. in McGilvery Hall. Now, there were events around the world to celebrate International Women's Day. There was a big rally in Pakistan and one near the presidential palace in the Philippines, to name a few. I'm Jacob Brooks, TV2 News.
Good evening, Portage County. I hope you've been staying warm with these rather cold temperatures that our area has been experiencing this week. Let's go ahead and take a look at the current weather outside right now. Currently in Kent, it is 37 degrees, feels like 25 though. Our temperatures have definitely been in those low digits, keeping it nice and frigid outside. Our dew point is right around 22 degrees. Winds are light and variable, south-southeast at 12 miles per hour. Humidity is right around 47% and visibility is at a clear 10 miles. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the weather for overnight tonight and going into tomorrow. Tonight, our temperature is going to be right around 25 degrees. The winds will die down a little bit and shift to the north, bringing us north-northeast winds at 6 miles per hour. Partly cloudy this evening with some more clouds rolling in overnight, bringing us a chance for some overcast skies tomorrow morning. And thankfully, our sunset has started to be pushed back by the hour, little by little. Tonight, it is at 6:24 p.m. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the forecast for tomorrow. Tomorrow, it is going to be 26 degrees right around 6 a.m. Again, those temperatures are going to be really cold overnight tonight. Partly cloudy skies, like I had mentioned. Moving on further into the afternoon, right around 12 in the afternoon, it's going to be bringing up to around 40 degrees with occasional sun peeking through those clouds, which I'm sure everyone will appreciate. And then for tomorrow evening, 41 degrees with partly cloudy skies right around 6 p.m. And that is all. Coming up, we'll take a look at some temperatures across the rest of our state, along with your 7-day forecast.
Aaron, Streetsboro police and school officials are warning parents after a student received threats online. This is a new case and an ongoing threat of sextortion against youth, when a person online gets younger kids to send them explicit photos and then threatens to tell their parents if they do not pay. This is exactly what happened in this case, according to police. The student told his mother about the whole situation and it was reported to the police. The investigation into the incident is still ongoing. And reported thefts of Kias and Hyundais are on the rise in Cuyahoga County, and the Cleveland City Council is taking action. The council passed a resolution urging the Bibb administration to file suit against the companies. Other large cities like Seattle and Columbus have sued the companies to pay for the money expended investigating the incidents. The issue lies in certain models in the vehicles where a glitch in the ignition system allows them to be stolen in just under 90 seconds.
And after 7 weeks, the jurors in the trial of Larry Householder has began deliberations. The District Court Judge Timothy S. Black dismissed them around 4:30 p.m. today since a verdict has not been reached. Federal prosecutors are accusing the former House Speaker of conducting a pay-to-play scheme that traded almost $61 million in First Energy. And Governor Mike DeWine and Norfolk Southern announced the creation of a first responders training center right here in Ohio. They plan to expand their Operation Awareness and Response program to include training on how to safely respond to train derailments. DeWine said the derailment in East Palestine made clear that this training was important for protecting communities and first responders in the future.
And continuing with Norfolk Southern, the National Transportation Safety Board will open a special investigation into Norfolk Southern after multiple train derailments. The board said they will look closely into the company's safety culture. Norfolk CEO Alan Shaw is set to testify tomorrow in front of the U.S. Senate panel on the train derailment in East Palestine. Shaw says he plans on being fully cooperative.
And more chemicals were found in the waterways near the site of the East Palestine train derailment. Researchers from Purdue sampled the water from 2 contaminated creeks after the train derailment last month. They said more contaminants were identified than what was reported by the state's Environmental Protection Agency. One chemical found in the water can cause coughing and shortness of breath. A letter has now been sent to the U.S. Senate committee, and they will be holding a hearing on the train derailment tomorrow.
All you TikTok users might have some bad news coming your way. More on a bipartisan bill that could threaten its usage in the U.S.
On Tuesday.
Tomorrow's news leaders.
Today's top stories.
From an award-winning student newsroom.
This is TV2 News, truly Portage County.
Welcome back. The release of more videos in the deadly beating of Tyree Nichols that happened in January got delayed. Officials were expected to release over 20 hours of footage from the night of the beating, along with records from the city's finished internal probe into the officers and firefighters involved in Nichols' death. As of yesterday, 7 of the 13 officers are fired, while the others have either been suspended or left the force.
The U.S. Department of Justice said the Louisville Metro Police Department routinely uses excessive violence against black citizens earlier today.
Some officers have demonstrated disrespect for the people they are sworn to protect. Some have videotaped themselves throwing drinks at pedestrians from their cars, insulted people with disabilities, and called black people monkeys, animal, and boy. This conduct is unacceptable.
This comes after the DOJ did an investigation into the police department there due to the raid that ended in the death of Breonna Taylor. Investigators said they found a pattern of disproportionate violence against people of color by the police. They also said they found buried reports from sexual assault victims and disabled people.
And voters in Oklahoma rejected to legalize recreational marijuana yesterday. Oklahoma would have been the 22nd state to legalize the adult use of cannabis and join other states like Montana and Missouri. Along with Oklahoma, other states that rejected the idea includes Arkansas, North Dakota, and South Dakota.
The age of TikTok in the U.S. may be coming to an end. A bunch of Republican and Democratic senators joined together to put forth a bipartisan bill which could end the use of the platform in the U.S. CNN's John Lawrence reports.
TikTok may soon be taken out.
What I can tell you is that we have certainly made clear some of our national security concerns with respect to the TikTok application, which is why it's not authorized for use on government devices.
A bipartisan group of 12 senators have unveiled legislation Tuesday that boosts President Joe Biden's ability to place a nationwide ban on TikTok.
When it comes to platforms and products owned by foreign adversaries like the CCP, there is next to no transparency for users about where their data is being stored and what the information is being used for.
The proposed law, called Restricting the Emergence of Security Threats That Risk Information and Communications Technology Act, doesn't specifically name-check TikTok, but it would give the U.S. more powers, like a ban, against foreign software deemed a national security risk by the Commerce Department.
I'm really proud to support this legislation and join my colleagues on both sides of the aisle to do something which is necessary, overdue, and critical to get passed as soon as possible.
TikTok spokeswoman Brooke Oberwetter issued a statement that says a possible U.S. ban would have a, quote, considerable negative impact on the free speech rights of millions of Americans. I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Yosemite Park is already shut down due to massive snowstorms that hit the region, but they're already bracing for the next storm. The approaching storm could include rainfall up to 8,000 feet.
The park says they are concerned about the rain triggering a massive flooding event since it could melt all of the snow. Park officials are preparing for the flooding by placing down sandbags as well as other preparations. I have to say that's very intense. I'm lucky to say that we haven't really had any crazy weather like that happen here in Ohio.
For Ohio in March, I walked out this morning. It was very cold, but it was still sunny, so it didn't feel that way.
Yeah, well, Aaron, what do you have to tell us about, the weather that's coming up? Are we going to see sun?
Well, unfortunately, these temperatures are not going anywhere anytime soon. Let's go ahead and take at the temperatures here in Northeast Ohio. We're at 37 in Kent, 36 in Youngstown, 35 in Ashton-Beulah, 36 up on the water in Cleveland, and 39 in Sandusky, 37 in Mansfield, and 39 in Canton. Now let's go ahead and expand and look at the temperatures across the rest of our state. We're at 41 in Lima, 49 in Dayton, 49 in Cincinnati as well, 46 in Columbus, 48 in Athens, 38 in Akron, and 43 in Steubenville. Now for your 7-day forecast. Like I said earlier, these temperatures are not going to be that forgiving for the next week. Tomorrow we're going to have some morning clouds opening up to some afternoon sun like I had previously mentioned, bringing us a high of 48 degrees. Friday, some morning snow showers have a chance of rolling into our area, bringing us a high of 39 and a low of 26. Now, moving into your weekend, those clouds are going to persist and not bring us the best of temperatures or weather. 34 on Saturday and 39 with a chance of evening snow showers on Sunday. Those evening snow showers have a chance of persisting into the beginning of next week, Monday and Tuesday, with highs of 35 on Monday, 29 on Tuesday, and hopefully by the evening they start to die off and bring us some partly cloudy skies and hopefully warmer temperatures soon. And that is all for your evening weather report. Stay tuned at kentwire.com for more news and weather updates. Back to you, Kelsey.
Thanks, Aaron. More than 1 million people are hitting the streets across France in a strike aimed at bringing the country to a standstill. CNN's Jim Bitterman has more from Paris in the middle of the demonstrations.
6 in the series of demonstrations against the government's plan to reform the pension program, basically raising the retirement age from 62 to 64. And we've seen a lot of people, including some very young people out here in the crowd today, protesting because, in fact, this is what the French like to call a droit acquis, which is to say an acquired right. And once you've acquired a right, of course, you don't want to give it back up again. And so a lot of people have been turning out at these demonstrations. Now, the real question here is what happens after this? Are these demonstrations going to continue, or the strikes that behind these demonstrations, are they going to continue? Today, about a quarter of the public sector workers, the government employees, stayed off the jobs. About a quarter of the school teachers, 4 out of 5 of the high-speed trains were canceled today. So there is a lot of support for what's going on here, but almost certainly the government is going to get its way with this because they're going to present the bill that enables the reform of the pension program. They're going to present it to the Parliament in about 8 or 10 days. Then after that, if it doesn't pass, they still have a mechanism by which they can, by decree, enact the legislation that will reform the pension program.
More than 60,000 people in Greece took to the streets to protest following the deadliest train accident in the country's history, killing 57 people last week. The protesters are mostly workers in the rail network, which they say is crumbling in the country. The workers say it is a result of years of neglect, understaffing, and underinvestment, all due in part because of Greece's debt crisis.
And today, the UN mission said that Afghanistan's new rulers have shown, quote, singular focus on imposing rules that leave most women and girls effectively trapped in their homes. Since the Taliban took power, harsh measures were implemented, such as banning girls' education after 6th grade and prohibiting women from working at national and international non-governmental organizations. A special representative from the UN says that under the Taliban's authority, Afghanistan remains the most repressive country in the world regarding women's rights.
And who's playing where? Coming up.
Report.
What's up, Portage County? I'm Della Fowler, and welcome to the Sports Desk. We have a lot of things on this Wednesday evening, so we will go right to it. First off, on this International Women's Day, the Kent State women's basketball team was feeling their girl power, winning their first game of the playoffs. They defeated NIU 75-68. This was the second time the Flashes played NIU in the past 5 days, concluding their season with a win against them on Wednesday. Today was Katie Shoemate's day, though. She led the team in points, rebounds, and assists. The team was dominant in scoring, Lindsay Thaw as well, and Claire Kelly coming off the bench. Both of them charted 16 points on the day. They will move on at the tournament in Cleveland, facing off next with Toledo on Friday at 10 a.m. And as the highly anticipated return of the Kent State men's basketball team to the MAC tournament, the MAC conference also honored players with regular season awards. Malik Jacobs being named Defensive Player of the Year with 81 steals and 22 blocks on the season. Jalen Sullinger was also earned his first MAC conference award, winning the 6th Man of the Year award, showcasing his outstanding performance off the bench on this season. Along with this, former MAC Player of the Year last year, Sincere Carey earned a spot on the 5-person All-MAC first team. He and all of those Flashes will battle it out with NIU tomorrow at 4 p.m. in Cleveland. And we will take it to my favorite place, the rink. Blue Jackets, they're in town facing the Penguins at PPG. CBJ having a monster first period already with 2 goals already. Kent Johnson coming in, and Casey with speed, and right behind him, Patrick Laine. It's 3-0 Jackets. And after a goal by Liam Footy, Pittsburgh will just put Tristan Jarry to bed, and Casey DeSmith will come back out and take over in the net. And the Penguins' comeback starts now already. They are going to come up here with 2 goals and go around the back of the net. You know, we don't have time for that, unfortunately, today. But long story short, the Penguins did come back to win against the Jackets 5-4. And that's all we have time for over here in my corner of the newsroom. I will send it back to Chris and Kelsey.
Thanks, Della. The Avatar sequel, The Way of the Water, is still making the headlines months after it's released. The newest updates of the film after the break. Avatar, The Way of Water is heading to digital this month. Rick Damigella has the story and more in the Hollywood Minute.
Avatar fans can soon visit Pandora digitally. Variety reports Avatar: The Way of Water will be available for digital purchase on March 28th from Apple TV, Movies Anywhere, Prime Video, and Vudu. The release will feature over 3 hours of bonus content from the film.
On the page, you know, you can get an instinct.
Casting news, Creed 3 star Jonathan Majors sets his next film. Deadline reports Majors will star in and produce The Understudy for Amazon Studios. The film follows a Broadway understudy who lands a role worth killing for. No release date has been announced.
I spent 10 years of my life homeless from the time I was 16 to 25. And, you know, I thought I was worthless.
Elegance Bratton will be honored at the 2023 Outfest Fusion Film Festival. The writer-director of The Inspection is set to receive the Fusion Achievement Award, recognizing individuals making significant contributions to LGBTQ+ visibility in stories, art, and media. The event takes place March 24th. In Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
So did you watch the Avatar sequel?
I'm
curious.
Listen,
I'm outing you here.
I haven't seen either. I'm so sorry. I feel like that's very controversial. I haven't been that interested in it.
To be honest,
Listen,
like,
I'm sorry.
And this might be a hot take, but it was never like the story. It was more like the spectacle of it that's interesting.
Yeah,
you know?
I think I was just too young for the first time and was just kind of like, eh. And then this time I hadn't seen the first one, so I was like, well.
Well, get on it.
Okay, I'm sorry.
And that is all the time we have for tonight. Thank you so much for joining us.
For updates on all these stories and more, visit our website at KentWired.com and follow us on all of our social media at KentWired. I'm Kelsey Drennen.
And I'm Chris Abreu. Have a great night, Portage County.